and action.
Action.
Welcome.
Welcome to Girls Gone
Girls Gone
Spooky.
Spooky.
Why is Dave calling me when I just told him that we were about to record?
You want to pick it up?
Yeah, everyone listen.
Yeah, you can.
Just kidding. Okay. Ready.
Good thing that's over. Pause for privacy because their discussions tend to be on the kind of like conspiratorial spy content side. So just try to keep our troops safe.
Yes,
you know,
that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. So, so dumb. Okay. So I'm Olivia.
Oh, and I'm Amy.
And we've been away for a while.
Yeah, we have.
So we're fucking back.
Out of practice.
And a little out of practice. We're a little rusty, guys. But this is episode 36 of the season, which means after this episode, we only have 4 more episodes until our season hiatus.
Yes.
Before season 3 begins in the fall. So
amazing.
Buckle up, bitches. We're coming in hot with some TikTok shit.
Oh yeah. What an accomplishment, you know?
Right?
I don't really think about it that much. But
I know.
When you lay it out like that, it's pretty impressive.
I know. That's hella episodes.
Yeah,
dude.
It is.
That's hella content.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. We'll have to make the last 4 extra
real
special.
Good. I know. We'll have to like brainstorm about what we want to do, how we want to theme them.
Yeah, a 4-hour special.
Exactly. Perfect. All at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Great movie, by the way. But 2 things. 1, you know what doxing is, right? When you like out someone's personal information in a public forum. Okay.
Yeah.
For anyone who didn't know what doxing is, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm about to do it again. But my dad calls me the other day after listening to our episode where I said he was like a little chicken about everything. He calls me and I'm laying on my bed. I'm high as a kite. It's like a Sunday. Yeah, it's like a Sunday. I'm like lounging around. I took an edible. I'm just hanging out, which is legal, by the way.
Yep.
Dad. So he doesn't care, but he's like, you shouldn't announce that on your show. Oh. I'm really just going off. I'm telling all the secrets. But I answer the phone, and I always, whenever my parents call and I'm high, I'm like, do I answer? And I'm like, yeah. So I answer, and I'm like, hey, Dad. And he's like, you spooky doxed me. And I was like, what? Just high, confused, no context. And he's like, you told everyone I'm a chicken. I was like, yeah, because you are. He was like, true. But what the hell, man? So, well, hey. This one's for you, Dad.
I am too. I think I fall in the chicken category.
Yeah, but you are, I mean, he listens, so I guess that's just as scary. He doesn't know what's coming, so arguably that's very brave. We just hit him with pa, whatever we have prepared. He's got no idea. So basically, Dad, we're proud of you.
Yeah, we are.
You little chicken shit. Thanks for listening, chicken shit. Just kidding. Love you, Dad.
Perfect.
LOL. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to tell you about, I told Amy before we hit record, I was like, there's one more update I have for you on my personal life, because we do like a personal sync before we record, but I have to wait till we're recording. Okay. I saw a movie last night in theaters called Evil Dead Rise, and it is the 5th in the Evil Dead / Evil Dead Rise. I don't know if it's like they're all Evil Dead Rise or just Evil Dead. Anyway, it's a series of movies. I love horror. I think that's obvious. We all know this at this point. Yes. What I don't love is gore just for the sake of it. I hate it. I think it's stupid. It makes me just feel like kind of ill. And I'm like, okay, this isn't even creative. Like you're just like getting the shock factor at this point. This movie was the goriest movie, like bloodiest, goriest, most foul movie I've ever seen. And I was in theaters, so I was stuck there. I couldn't just like turn it off.
Right.
There were chainsaws. Someone got scalped in the first, like, 2 minutes. Like,
Okay.
no buildup. It was, like, immediate possession, demon rips her head off.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I was like,
Okay.
"What?" Like, it was okay, I'll tell you one scene. And
Okay.
this is not spoiling anything because I'm not gonna say characters, so any of you, if you're Evil Dead Rise fans, first of all, fucking why? Second of all,
Uh-huh.
okay, so there's a demon in the hallway and there are other people in the hallway, but the demon's like in a person's body.
Yeah.
The demon hops on the person, bites his face, like around the eyebrow, cheek, upper cheekbone area, bites his eye out of his head, just takes a big chunk, which, first of all, not possible. You'd have to break this entire bone, all those bones. This one I think is pretty easy, but this bone, your skull, like, that's hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bites the eye out and then gets off the person. I mean, it's a guy, but whatever. Starts like heaving like a cat about to spit up a hairball, coughs out the eyeball into another guy's mouth, and then he chokes and dies on it.
What? Okay.
Everyone was laughing. Everyone was like,
this other guy, was he just standing there with his mouth open, or like did he?
Yeah, like it was just chaos, and he was like, his mouth is like slightly open, the eyeball just goes straight to the back of the throat, and he doesn't like cough it up or try even, or like try to swallow it, which, like, you're clear your airway at that point. Like, you swallow the fucking eyeball,
right?
No, just
dies.
Chokes on the eyeball. I was like, wow. And that wasn't that long. I don't even know when that was. Maybe not even halfway through. And I was like, I want to turn this off.
Yeah.
Someone just stop projecting. Like, I'm done.
That sounds terrible. But
it was horrid.
Maybe the people who are fans of that series know that it's like, okay, this is over the top and disgusting, and that's why I like it.
Think? Totally. Which I think could be part of it. Also, that is so loud.
It is loud.
That's my cat's litter box, everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and mute myself for a moment.
Oh God, what do I talk about? Just me. Talking to myself.
It's taking so long.
Of course.
I'm cackling.
At my time of need.
I'm so sorry.
Oh. Well, I could introduce our topic.
Just, you go silent. I'm like your emotional support co-host. Oh, well, that's so funny.
It's such an abrupt ending to what we were just talking about.
It was, no, but I know you're right, though, about what you said. Like, I think it probably is, like, it's the shtick, right? Like, it's the whole series vibe. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that. So, like, we booked the tickets so I have, like, 2 friends here in Toronto who we call ourselves, like, Movie Gang. That's, like, our group chat name. And we all love horror movies. So we, like, go see horror movies together, along with other movies, but mainly horror. And we were going to get tickets. And then Noah was like, oh, I want to see that. And so I was like, oh, great. Like, come. Mm-hmm. So we buy the tickets and Noah was like, is this like a part of the Evil Dead series? And I was like, no, I don't think so. Like, I don't, like, what is that? Like a video game? And he's like, no, it's like a very popular horror franchise. And I was like, I've never even heard of that. Like, what?
Yeah.
So then he's like, let me look it up. So he looks it up. He's like, yep, it's the 5th in the series. I was like, okay. Wow. So I'd never even heard of these movies before. I don't know how. Maybe they're an older franchise, or I don't know, maybe just like a little more fringe than like Scream or Friday the 13th or whatever. But I was like, okay. And he's like, I don't know if this is going to be like your jam. And I was like,
Right.
this is going to be great. I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
And then we're sitting there 5 minutes in. He looks over at me and I was like, I'm going to hate this. He's like, yeah.
Did anyone like it from your group, or was it more
Everyone
just
but
funny?
me liked it. They were like, it was entertaining. And I was like, that was a waste of $15.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just a curmudgeon, you know?
I don't know. That's just like not your style. And
No,
it's
and it's
not
just
a
not,
lot
I
of
guess
people's
I
style.
want like, no, I want like clever and scary in a way that you don't see coming. I think that's
Right.
exactly what it was. It was one of those things where it's in every scene, you're like, oh no, I hope that doesn't happen. And then that happens. You know what I mean? It's like you see it coming from a fucking mile away.
Right.
And you're like,
yeah.
come on.
You want to be psychologically tormented.
I do. I want to be psychologically tormented. Is that so much to ask?
No.
Anyway, choking on eyeballs, elevators full
Yeah.
of blood. It's just, it's a lot, everyone. And trust me, I'm not spoiling it. The first scene, you will be like, okay, yeah, I know what's coming.
Yep. Makes sense. Oh boy.
Yeah. So anywho, why don't you introduce our topic, Amy?
Oh, okay. Well, I think, was this inspired by our recent creation of a TikTok for our account?
Yeah, a little bit.
Or our podcast, I mean.
A little bit.
Yeah, there's, I guess, the first thing, order of business, is we have a TikTok now.
Yes, we do.
It's just Girls Gone Spooky, isn't it?
It's just Girls Gone Spooky.
Okay, wow.
That's the handle.
I need
follow
to
us.
go follow it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, yeah, we're doing another installment of creepy things we've seen on TikTok.
Yes. Seemed like a perfect time to bring you a part 2.
Yes, agreed. It's just smart marketing.
Smart marketing, everyone. We're just trying to be smart marketers.
Yes. Olivia's the genius behind all of this.
I mean, hardly. One of my coworkers was like, you guys really should have a TikTok. And I was like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people do these days, I guess. So
truly. But I also think there's value in having video content, because we have gotten questions about, are we on YouTube? Are we on TikTok? Because I think people like to watch their podcasts now, which I get. I like watching them too.
Yeah.
So we're working on it, guys. Next, YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Not yet, so chill out.
Okay. Wow. That'll be exciting. Something to look forward to.
Yes, precisely.
Okay. So I'm first, right? I think.
Yes.
Okay.
You are.
Perfect. So I got stuck on one topic today after seeing one video that led to many others. And it's a topic we've discussed in the past, but it's been a while. And it's specifically it's from parents who have stories of their children who have told them about their past lives. So, yeah, the original one was from Paranormal Princess. And the story basically was this, I couldn't tell whose voice it was in the background, but it seemed like this mom was on a talk show. Like, it almost could have been Oprah, but you couldn't see the host. So there were two voices, but I don't know. And it was from, her hair at least looked like it was from the 80s, early 90s. So it was an old one. But this mom, she was describing how her almost 3-year-old daughter, they were in the car driving somewhere and they were crossing a bridge. And her daughter said, "Mommy, this looks just like where I died." in like in a very excited way, not like she was scared. She was like, "Whoa, this is where I died."
Exciting.
Yeah. And the mom obviously was like, no. So she was shaken. She pulled over the car so she could ask her more about what she was talking about. The first question she asked was, well, where was I when you died? And the daughter said, you weren't with me that time. So that language is almost like, is she referring to another life? Oh, I just gotta, did anything happen on your screen?
No,
It just
I
said
saw
I
that
disconnected.
like, connection.
Okay.
No, I think we're back.
Okay, so yeah, you weren't with me that time. The daughter goes on to describe that she died in a car that had flown off a bridge, just like the one that they had just driven over. And the mom asks who was driving, and the little girl said, I was driving. I was tall enough to reach the pedals, which the mom also thinks is kind of strange because this is a 2, almost 3-year-old. Does she really understand like the mechanism to drive a car? And the daughter also said that she wasn't wearing a seatbelt during her accident. And the mom was saying that in her current life, I guess, this daughter is like fanatical about making sure that she's buckled into her car seat. And she even asks other people in the car if they're buckled in, if they've buckled their seatbelts. So
how weird.
Like she's remembering these details of why and how she died.
Which is super funny too, because I feel like that age is when they fight the car seat. Like the last thing they want is to be buckled in. Because they don't understand it's like a safety thing.
Yeah. But this little girl gets it somehow.
Yeah.
And the last thing she said was that she was ejected from this car, and her last memory is of laying on rocks underwater, watching bubbles floating up to the surface. Which just
my God,
gives me chills.
Yeah.
Having such a vivid picture.
Remembers,
Must have been very traumatic.
Yeah,
death.
for sure.
I mean, obviously.
If you're going to remember it into a future life,
Right. So that was the original video. And then I kept scrolling and found another thread that then took me to BuzzFeed, of course.
Of course.
I always end up there, it seems. And let's see. So it's like a compilation of TikToks from parents describing things their kids have talked about with regard to past lives. The original poster for this was Frederica Severance, which is an interesting last name, if that's her last name.
Severance.
So, yeah, Severance. So I'm just going to read the summaries of these videos.
Yeah.
So here's the first one. Okay. So this is from, they don't even have the usernames on here. So I'm sorry. I don't have that. But okay. This mom, the first one, she said that her son once told her how lucky he was that he got to choose her as his mom. When she asked him to elaborate, he explained that he was walking through the forest with his other mom when they saw a cabin that she was inside. So his current mom was inside this cabin that he walked past with his other mom. And in that moment, he decided he wanted her to be his mom this time around, quote unquote. Whoa. So I don't know if the cabin was that like pre his life. I don't know where he would have seen that, but just a weird thing to say.
That's super weird.
Okay, then this one, also this woman, I don't have the username, says that when her daughter was 4 years old, the little girl saw a 9/11 memorial post and pointed out the Twin Towers. She told her mom that she had worked there before until one day when the building got very hot, quote unquote. She says she tried to escape with her friends but wasn't able to and ended up jumping out of a window to fly like a bird. These are just like
I could cry.
astonishing.
That is so emotional.
Yeah. I know. Scary
And I assume
too.
this child was not actually living during 9/11,
Yeah,
right? Like, that was a long time ago. That was
this girl was 4 years old.
20 22 years ago.
Yeah, so she's
I'm
young.
sorry, that was 22 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We're in 3rd grade.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, how old am I?
I know.
I'm having a moment.
I think about that often, and
I was thinking like, oh, like maybe she was living and somehow remembered seeing it on television. No, she'd be a young adult.
right.
So
No. Yeah,
losing it.
that's crazy. I remember that day so vividly, but
Yeah,
I
me too.
don't think that I realized the gravity of it at the time. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't know we were living history that day,
Mhm.
but yeah, I still remember it so crazy
I think
vividly.
I had this sense of how bad it was because of my mom's, like, face. Like,
Mhm.
her reaction was like, "Okay, something's, like,
Yeah.
really bad is
Mhm.
happening." But, yeah, I mean, we were, what, 8? Like,
Yeah,
how can you even grasp? And we'd never experienced anything like that. So it's
right.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. We didn't
yeah,
it doesn't
so
affect
crazy.
us directly
No,
as
yeah,
8-year-olds not in New York
exactly.
City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm. Yeah, crazy.
Oh,
Um,
sorry,
oh
one
yeah,
more quick tangent.
sure.
Have you seen Come From Away?
No.
So it was touring, it's a musical theater, it's a musical,
Mhm.
and it was touring all over the place, I think, but it was here in Toronto for a bit. It's a story I never got to see it on stage, but they have it on Apple TV now.
Hmm.
It's a story about this tiny town called Gander in the middle of Newfoundland that has, like, one of the biggest airports, like, runways. I think the biggest in North America, something
Oh.
crazy, because it used to
Hmm.
be the stopping point for when planes couldn't hold as much fuel, and so
Oh.
planes would all stop there to refuel, and then they'd go on their way.
Mhm.
So when 9/11 happened, when the towers were struck, all planes had to be rerouted away from New York, and so,
Right.
like almost 40 planes landed there, and then the people of Gander, who were like, I don't know, its population, like, maybe 1,000, like, it's
Mhm.
tiny, basically, like, took these people in for, like, days and days and
Yeah.
days
Yeah.
and, like, fed them, like, they invited them into, like, they got screeched in, which is, like, a Newfoundland thing where you, like, drink this, like, moonshine, and then you, like, kiss a cod. It's, like, very just
Oh.
so Canadian, but
Yeah.
it's, like, it's all about that day, and it's, like, all these people too are like, "My son's a firefighter," like, worrying about their families and
Mhm.
not sure what's happening, like, witnessing history, and they're all adults, so they realize the gravity of it. But it's a beautiful show. Like, it's
Mm.
really well done.
Yeah.
I just watched it over the weekend, and it was really good. So this
Yeah.
just reminded me of that. So quick
Okay.
quick rec, non-spooky rec, but
Yeah.
it's
What
really
was it called again?
Come From
Come
Away.
From Away. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like maybe somebody wrote an article about that recently that I, like, glanced
Probably.
over. But yeah, what a nice, like, place to end
It's
up in a
beautiful.
bad
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful story, and, like, people, like, formed relationships that ended up being, like, lifelong relationships while they were
Yeah.
there, and
Mhm.
it was, like, lots of silver lining coming out of such, like, a dark time.
Yeah. Oh,
It was really
sweet.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Okay, back to our past lives. So
Yes.
this young woman, don't have a username again. Oh wait, here's one. It's Anna B, ANNNA B.
Oh.
Um, so when she was a little girl, she started sharing very detailed information about England, specifically Hampton Court Palace. So
What?
one specific palace in England. Um, then, when she was 19, she had the opportunity to visit. And when she stepped inside, She immediately knew where everything was. She even tried to open doors that were locked to show her mom that she knew what was in that room, but the staff said that those doors had never been opened. So.
Oh my God.
And also Hampton Court Palace. Like, I've never even heard of that my whole life. Yeah.
Oh my God. Were they able to see if there was like a young woman who lived there? I guess she wouldn't have to be a young woman. I guess she'd be anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Gender doesn't necessarily carry over.
I'm going to write down her username for when I get my
so
TikTok.
Curious. Yes.
So I can watch.
TikTok. You guys, us posting on TikTok is literally a part of an elaborate ploy to get Amy back on TikTok, because I want to just DM her on there, you know?
Make it easier. It's like my information is already out there, you know? What more are they going to steal from me?
Have you seen those memes that are like, the US government is like, China wants you to get on TikTok so they can steal your personal data, and then it's like my For You page, and it's like it's like, okay. It's like, to be fair, a lot of our personal information is on there, but it's also like available in other public forums as well. So I don't know. It's not to belittle the security risk. Right. I think like people who work for the government, like, sure, there should be restrictions, but listen, guys, we're out here making a fucking spooky pod.
Yeah,
like,
we gotta have our sources. Yeah,
we gotta have our sources. We gotta have the talk.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, I'll be on there soon.
Bless. All right, proceed. Sorry.
Okay, here we go. This woman's niece, here's one. Wildwood Dreams is the username. Was a ballerina in a past life. After receiving her first Wiggles ballet bar at a very young age, she sat down and began scraping at her ballet slippers. Okay, sorry, I got that warning again. When asked what she was doing, she replied that she was cutting her slippers like she used to do when she was a ballerina, so she wouldn't slip and hurt her ankles.
Which is totally something like professional ballerinas do. That's really weird.
Right. Creepy. Okay, then I'm going to skip a couple of these. Where's the one that I liked? Sorry, I'm scrolling.
It's okay.
Okay. This one was interesting. Okay. This woman's son once came home from school with a stack of drawings. And this is Miss Token on TikTok. When she asked about one of the pictures, he explained that it was, quote, from when you and I were twins. He added that he knew that she was supposed to have been a twin, but her sibling did not survive, and he became her son so they could be together again. So she had never told her son that her mother had miscarried her twin so many years ago. So
that gave me full body goosebumps.
I know that. Yeah. How would
didn't you have a twin in the womb at one point?
I did. Yes. Yeah. We thought it was a boy, but I don't know if we actually knew that. Oh, that's true.
That would actually be so beautiful. I love that.
That'd be
it's cool. Like when I did the past life regression and you were my baby.
Yeah. That means that my son is your son. Yeah. And also my brother.
Yeah. I mean, so long as he's not your lover, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think we can all be intertwined in that way.
Yeah, in that way. Yeah.
Okay, then this last one, this woman says that as a little boy, her son told her a bizarre and very detailed story about previously living on Saturn. He said that he had 3 children worked in a very tall building filled with vehicles that helped evacuate people to Earth. She checked all the movies and TV shows her son had watched to see if he was making it up and couldn't find anything remotely similar. So,
what?
I don't know what to make of that one. But after I read that, I came across someone that I don't think we talked about in all of our past lives episodes, named Dolores Cannon, who was a hypnotherapist, and she guided people on past life regressions for her whole career. And she became famous for a lot of reasons, but I think main one was that she wrote a whole book about past life regressions she had done with people who contacted or reached a past life on another planet.
Oh.
So she has a lot of like alien sort of content and all that good stuff.
We've talked about like something along those lines, but I don't think we went into a lot of detail. It was like multiple people with memories of a planet that's described like the same across multiple people.
Yes, I think, I remember that. And maybe that did come from her book, because oddly enough, so when you Google Dolores, you get all of her books, but she doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so she's like kind of, I found one site that had some info about her that maybe we could save if we want to get on another past lives kick. But because she seems to be a very interesting person, and I would be interested to read her books actually, because I think the whole point is saying that when you Google her, nothing comes up except the titles of her book. So I think to find out what she wrote, you kind of have to read it. So,
and also like what her deal was, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess like she's a hypnotherapist. Maybe that's all you need to know. But that seems like a very specific thing to get into, and then to like double click into that niche of like other planets, like in past lives. Like, how did you find all those people?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because there some of the highlights of what her content was, or I don't know what the right word is for people who wrote books, content, I guess. So she said that she was able to establish communication with Nostradamus, who was a oh man, I'm having word finding trouble. He was like a prophet, or not a prophet. He predicted
like
things. I sound like an idiot.
No, but not like a psychic. It was like oh my god, I can't think of the word either. Or like
he made prophecies.
Prophetic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There it
is. We did it in the end. But she said that she contacted him, and she ultimately published 3 books about conversations with Nostradamus, where they discussed his prophecies, including the creation of supercomputers, the rise of the internet, erratic weather patterns, earth changes, war in the Middle East, world government, politics, 2012. Remember that whole thing? The Antichrist, nuclear weapons, and AIDS. So, fascinating.
Nostradamus, people must have just been like, dude, are you okay? Like, it's like, there's going to be AIDS, there's going to be nuclear weapons,
computers.
The Mayans are going to predict some shit, but they're wrong.
Yep.
Supercomputers. Elon Musk. Like, everyone's like,
what? What are you even saying?
Classic.
Yeah. So, and then the last things that stood out to me were that also 2 of the people that she did regressions with claimed to have met Jesus in their former lives. Like,
totally, me too.
One was like very close with him in this regression, and she wrote,
how close?
I don't know. We'll have to read to find out. But she wrote a book, They Walked with Jesus. So,
oh, wow.
I mean,
wow, she's been like busy. She's got to have like a hand cramp at this point, writing
I
all these
know.
stories.
Yeah, so I think we should write her down for a later date.
Yeah, I'm curious now.
Okay.
We could even Cliff Notes her books if they feel a little too dense.
Yeah, because they probably are.
I'm here for it.
Or
Yeah,
maybe find
we like
interviews. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we'll look into it for sure.
Okay.
Dolores.
But yeah, that was where I got stuck because I'm just so fascinated by that still.
I know, past lives. It's fascinating. It's so fascinating to me.
I can think about it all the time.
My stories are in a very different vein. They're more traditionally spooky.
Okay, good.
So with that, I begin.
Okay.
Okay, this one is from Kaylin, and her handle is Heart Starts Pounding. Just a precursor. A lot of these are from actually like people who also have podcasts, but they seem to like, some of them like have actual podcasts, but it's like the TikTok seems to be like their main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, just prefacing. Okay, so this is Heart Starts Pounding. So Kaylin tells a story about there's this little boy who's a paper delivery boy, and this was someone who like wrote in to her to tell their story, and so he would deliver to this old woman on his route who was like very old, like not well, and so she actually gave him a key to her front door so that he could come in and bring the paper into like her like kitchen table so that she wouldn't have to go outside on the steps to get it. And so like, you know, this became their thing, and she'd usually greet him when he'd come in. But so one day he comes in and she's in her room lying down, which is like kind of unusual. And so he calls to her and she doesn't answer. And so he thinks, you know, she's probably asleep. I don't want to like bug her. So he like leaves the paper on the table, leaves. Comes back the next day, same thing. She's like laying in her bed, and he's like, well, maybe she's sick. She's like, do you need anything? Like, no response. And he's like, I'm just going to leave her be. Like, seems like she's just like sleeping. Comes the third day and thinks, okay, if she's still laying there, I'm going to like check and make sure she's okay and like call for help. She greets him at the front door. She's like, oh, so good to see you. Thank you so much for bringing me the paper. And then says something really weird, like, I'm going to miss you. Oh. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, says some kind of weird, like sort of prophetic stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Old lady, weird. Leaves, comes back the next day. And when he comes back, there's like a bunch of ambulances outside of her house. And he's like, what's going on? Like, I deliver her paper every day. Like, is she okay? And they're like, no, I'm really sorry. Like, she passed away like 2 days ago.
Whoa.
So who the fuck greeted him at the door?
Yeah.
Like, her ghost?
Because it looked like her, right? He thought it was her.
Thought it was her.
Whoa.
I don't know. It's like, it could be sweet. It also could be like really fucking creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess either way it's creepy, but I was like, oh.
Yeah. Weird. And totally unexplainable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super weird. Super weird. And this is like a little boy. He's like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one, also from Kaylin. So there's a woman who's living in Virginia who writes in about her daughter who has an imaginary friend. This gave me major David flashbacks. Called Little Michael.
Oh, Little Michael.
Little Michael.
Little Mikey.
Little Mikey. So, you know, the daughter would do normal, like, imaginary friend things. Like, oh, can little Michael come for dinner? Can little Michael tuck me in? Can little Michael help me with the whatever, chores, whatever? And, I mean, the mom would say, yeah, like, why not? It's an imaginary friend. But the little girls had mentioned a couple times, like, if he can't, he's going to be angry.
Oh.
And the mom was like, that's weird, but okay. So the little girl's drawing one day, and she's drawing herself, and she's holding hands with this like creepy as fuck looking figure, like ghostly, these like big dark black eyes, like kind of like like red, like bloody maybe. I mean, it's a little girl, so her drawing is very like sketchy, but that was funny. But her drawing's very sketchy. But it's just like, looks like kind of like a ghosty sort of like ghoul figure holding wilting flowers.
Oh,
And the mom's like, honey, who's that you're drawing? And she's like, little Michael. And the mom's like, oh.
Like, duh.
So, yeah. So then the little girl demands the picture be hung up on the fridge.
Okay.
And the mom's like, okay. Which, again, David. No, they hang it up on the fridge and little Michael goes away.
Wow.
He just stops coming around.
Oh.
So I don't know if maybe like the little girl was sensing like, I don't like this. So maybe if I put this up here, he'll be satisfied and like go away.
Yeah. Oh, but can they ever take it down?
Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, maybe even like revealing his like physical figure to the mother was like, he didn't have the same pull over her anymore.
Yeah.
Now that the mother knew.
Right.
I don't know. Weird.
Very weird.
This next story is from the next two, actually, are from a woman named Jordan Rayner, and her handle is the Jordan Rayner. So talks about a family that moves into a brand new home that's surrounded by woods, like beautiful, lush, kind of like foresty area. Not a ton around. Like they have neighbors, but they're spaced out and there's like woods backing up to the house. So they move in. They have 2 dogs and, everything's normal. And then over the course of like the first few weeks, the dogs start getting kind of weird. Like they are like staring at specific spots in the woods throughout the day and night. Their like hackles are raised, like very like protective stance kind of stuff, like barking at nothing, staring at nothing, growling, all of that. Family's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
But there could be animals out there, like it's probably wolves or they smell something or whatever. So they just kind of are like, okay, it's fine. Then at night they start hearing sounds around the house, like sounds like the dogs are growling and it sounds like people are like walking around the house and they're like, oh, that's weird. But again, it could be animals. So they like obviously keep the dogs inside, make sure they're safe. Then they start seeing these like shadowy figures along with the sounds of people moving around. So it's like not quite people, but like figures. Like they assume it's people, but all they can see are sort of this like these shadows.
Yeah.
And then the shadow figures begin, and this is over the course of like I think like a month or 2 at this point.
Okay.
They start knocking on the doors and windows. I would be like, pack up, we're out of here, guys.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. So they're hearing all this knocking on the doors and windows at night, and the walking around and seeing the shadowy figures. And then they start hearing voices, except they're not the voices of strangers. They're the voices of the family members coming from the fucking woods.
Oh my God.
Hard pass. So they're like, fuck this shit. I think it was like North Carolina or something like that.
I was just going to ask.
I'm forgetting exactly where it is now. I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina. So they're like, fuck this. They put up a fence. They put up security cameras. They're like, this is messed up. Like whoever's messing with us, like this isn't funny. We're going to get to the bottom of this. They still hear the walking. They still hear the voices. They still see the shadowy figures, the knocking, all of it. They still hear it all. There is nothing caught on camera.
Wow.
Nothing.
Oh, God.
Just nothing. It just looks like their house is still undisturbed, fine. So they're like, okay. They don't catch a single thing on camera until the last day before they move out of the house.
Classic.
They hear the back door open in the middle of the night and they hear someone walking into the house. They can hear it.
Yeah.
So they panic. They leave the house in the middle of the night. They come back in the morning. They get the footage. It shows the door opening on its own. Nothing there. No one there.
God.
Nothing.
Wow.
Creepy as fuck. So they were like, we're out of here. Sold the house. Got out of Dodge.
That is so scary.
So that's creepy as shit.
God.
This one is like half creepy, half, it's not actually funny, but the thing I find funny, so it has to do with the haunted doll. It's a haunted Elsa doll, like Elsa from Frozen. And what's funny about it to me is when we think about haunted dolls, we think about old dolls. Like we think about like Annabelle or like those creepy chatty Cathy's or Raggedy Ann's or whatever.
Yes.
This is like such a modern doll. Like it doesn't look scary. It looks like Elsa. Like it looks like Disney's Frozen Elsa. So the parents buy this Elsa doll for their daughter, and it's fine. For like months, it's fine. It has like a little pendant, like a little necklace, and you touch it and she says things like "let it go," or she sings. She like has little like taglines, like a Woody doll if you were to pull his little screen. You can't control what it says, and there's no switch on it for anything. You can turn it on and off, but there's like no settings outside of that. So whatever, like doll's normal. All of a sudden, it starts saying some things in English and other things in Spanish, which is like, that's kind of weird because you'd think the doll would be programmed for one or the other. Or if it were bilingual, that it would say that, like on the box. But it wasn't. So they're like, that's kind of weird, but it's also like kind of fun and like funny.
A glitch, so maybe. Yeah,
a little glitch, like whatever, manufacturing thing.
Yeah.
So like, that's funny. It starts happening more and more where the doll's like speaking more Spanish. It's like 50-50. And they're like, that's weird. So they decide to turn it off, like turn the voice feature off. Cause they're like, it's weird. Like, you know, it's just like kind of odd at this point. So we're just going to turn it off, like sort of annoying. It continues speaking even when it's off.
Oh God.
So it will just make noise in English, in Spanish, doesn't matter. So the parents are like, it's broken. Let's just throw it out. So they throw it out. And the little girl's like, yeah, throw it out. It's weird. Why is it speaking Spanish to me? I don't speak Spanish. So they throw the doll out. The next day, the kids find the doll in a trunk, like in a bin in their house.
Oh God.
And the daughter is like, why is this here? And the mom was like, this isn't funny. Like, did you go fishing through the garbage? Like, that's gross. And the daughter's like, no, I wouldn't do that. And so they asked the other kid and they're like, did you take and they're like, no. And the parents were like, of course, originally we thought it was a prank, but they were so adamant. Like, why would they go digging through the trash for this like clearly broken doll? And the kids basically said that. So they're like, okay, it continues speaking, of course, like not prompted. So they're like, okay, they're going on vacation. The dad is like, fuck this. This is like getting kind of creepy. So he wraps it up, puts it at the bottom of their garbage bin, puts garbage on top. The garbage gets taken out that morning and they leave for vacation. They come back from vacation a week or 10 days later, whatever. And the doll is just sitting outside the house.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the story.
Oh, was there more? What did they do?
I don't know.
Burn her?
I don't know. Probably. God. I mean, I probably would.
Yeah.
Creepy as hell, man.
So
big yikes.
Did they say when she was talking if she was still saying her catchphrases or was she like...
it was still her normal like songs and phrases. But one detail I left out is, so after the first time they threw her out, like when they just threw her out, they didn't like wrap her up and like like bury her in there. She only spoke Spanish after that. So it was almost like it was the process of the doll being possessed by like a Spanish speaking ghost. Like I don't know. It's like really bizarre. And you were like, what?
And scary.
Very scary. Yeah. Yeah. Haunted dolls are just creepy as hell.
And like, why does she want to stay there so badly?
Right. Yeah.
Yikes.
So I have two more. One is from the Most Haunted City podcast. Like that's their handle. And that was also the name of their podcast. So one of them tells the story of a soldier who is in Iraq, and he is doing like patrol at night in the middle of the night with his like buddy. Like they go in pairs. And so they're in the middle of the desert. and they had issues in their tents with flies. And so they were given, like, this is kind of like a funny, not so funny side note. They were given what they were told is like bug repellent, like bug spray, to like spray around their tent, and then like it would get rid of the flies. And it did. What they found out later is it was actually like watered down nerve gas. So they were like, they would be like twitching, like on their phones, like twitching, and be like, oh, that's weird. Wonder what that's about. They were like inhaling this like nerve gas, which is so
That's
just
not
like
good.
on its own so fucked.
Yeah.
So, but I got rid of the flies. So they were like, okay, whatever. And they didn't know at the time what it was. They thought it was like anxiety or whatever. So they're out patrolling in the middle of the night, and one of them was like this is like where this desert is like historically where all monsters were born. And the guy's like, what do you mean? And he's like, it's like the Lord of the Flies, like this is his home, and like all like evil was created like in the cradle of this desert, essentially.
Wow.
And this is something he'd like said before, and it was like, okay, whatever, dude. So they're patrolling. All of a sudden this like thick fog rolls in. Like you're like, they're seeing it roll in. And they're like, this is kind of weird.
It's like a movie.
And literally, it's like The Mist, like Stephen King's The Mist. So it's rolling in. They're like, that's weird. And they see two red lights in the distance, like moving towards them. And there, he was explaining, I didn't fully understand it, but he was explaining that like their Hummers, when at night, they have this like small red light that goes on when they turn their lights off, so that like enemies can't see them, but their own would know it's them coming.
Yeah.
So these two lights, but then they're like, well, what if a Hummer got hijacked or whatever? And there are two of them. So these lights are coming towards them. And so they have code words. So they're talking into their their like walkie talkies, and are like saying their code words to get whoever's in those Hummers to respond. And there's no response. And then there's this like humming sound that starts coming from the fog, like louder and louder and louder. He says to the point where he's like yelling into the walkie-talkie and he can't even hear his own voice. It's so loud, like a buzzing humming.
Wow.
It's flies. A swarm of flies comes like passing over and around them.
Ew.
And the two red lights just pass right by them.
Whoa.
And the guy turns to, like, his buddy turns to him and is like, it's the Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
He's on patrol.
Oh.
And the guy was like, what the fuck? That is so creepy. So he literally believed like it was the devil, basically, or like an ancient demon, like patrolling,
just passing through.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's so scary.
Creepy. And that clearly there was like his residue was already around their campsite because there were already flies in there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So creepy. So
very creepy. Ugh.
And here's my last one. Bugs.
Bugs.
Bugs. This is from @CreepyReddit, which like already a winning handle. So this is a story of, so it's a woman who's a substitute teacher, and she substitute teaches at the school that her daughter goes to. And it's a Catholic school, and it's over 100 years old. So it's a very old school. Underneath the gym, there's a basement that's used exclusively for storage. So she's subbing one day, and during recess, a little girl standing at the top of the stairs, like going down to the basement, and is yelling, like her ball had gotten thrown down there, and she's yelling, just throw it up to me, to someone down there. And so the teacher comes over and is like, who's down there? And she's like, no, I'm just telling the big man at the bottom of the stairs to throw it up to me.
No.
And she's like, hell no. So she like gets a flashlight. She goes downstairs. She turns on all the lights. She searches the entire basement. There's nobody down there. And the only way in is through that stairway. So like no one's sneaking around down there. It's like concrete all the way around.
Right.
So she's like, that's weird. So she comes back upstairs and she asks, a few kids have gathered around at that point. And she's like, have you seen, you said like the big man at the bottom of the stairs. Have you seen him before? And the girl's like, yeah, but the sister said not to talk to him. And she's like, the sister? And all the kids are like, yeah, the sister. And they're like, can you describe the sister to me? and they all describe a nun, but no nuns have worked there for the past like 40, 50 years.
Wow.
So that nun is like protecting these kids from something. And weird that the kid is saying, just throw it up to me, as if he's saying like, come down and get it. Which is so fucking creepy.
Yeah, that is so scary. Oh, because that probably is nun is what's happening.
I know. Protecting. Protect the kids.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind
Slap
of nice.
them with rulers, but protect.
Yeah. That's nice that she's doing her job, though.
Yeah. And she's a nice nun.
Yeah.
She's not a mean nun.
Well, maybe she hit some knuckles. But
yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully that's the most. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So those are my stories.
Very good.
From the Clock app.
Yeah.
BOTS. Wow. We need to noodle on our next few episodes themes.
Yes.
But we will be back next week as scheduled. I think we should be on schedule through the rest of the season. Had a couple little mini hiatuses. So thanks for your patience. Don't apologize for being in Mexico.
I had to leave,
I had to get out of here, man.
Leave. I was out of here.
Respect. But yeah, so we will be back with more content for you, and we are video recording, so we will be putting clips onto our TikTok, and who knows, maybe the season finale will be on YouTube. Who knows, man?
You never know.
Who knows? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Girls Gone Spooky. Honestly, I was stunned that handle wasn't taken.
Yeah.
On any platform. Yeah. I was like, this is brilliant. And also apparently
unique. Yeah. Good for us.
So Girls Gone Spooky across all platforms. You can email us your spooky stories at girlsgonespooky@gmail.com. And we'll talk to you next week. But in the meantime, stay spooky.
Stay spooky. Bye.